Sister Moon, and I am once again, this is my second time now being facilitating this evening session. And as I was saying, tonight we have three very experienced and committed commissioners doing sharing with us. So I feel that the facilitator, is in very good hands, not the other way around, right? Um, as you know, in Malaysia, just for Brother Joe's information, we are stuck in yet another lockdown. And really, this kind of platform allow us to to stay connected to each other, and to feel each other's warmth in spite of not being able to be physically together. We will start with Sister Carping. Sister Carping actually has been very busy lately, and I don't think that you really need much introduction. Yeah, Sister Carping has been in Tzu Chi for more than 10 years. She actually lived more than 10 years. And she has
8 years, not 10 years yet.
8 years?
Yeah.
So, but it's not the length of time, but it is the value you add in the time that we are in Tzu Chi, actually, right? Now, Sister Carping has actually left a very successful corporate career. And she's able to see the weakness of that path, and able to really walk away and having the courage to seek what you really wanted, at that point of time. And this is no mean feat, because right when you are right in the middle of a very successful career, it's not easy to say, no, this is not what I want, and I want to do something more worthwhile. Really not something for the very faint-hearted. After, of course, Sister brings with her hallmark focus. Why I say hallmark? Because Sister Carping is extremely focused. She's very focused, in very, very committed, and she doesn't deviate, even in what she wants to do, not just in the learning of Dharma, but even when she takes a project, she doesn't deviate from the target and the aim of the. And we are very, I think in Tzu Chi, we are very, very thankful for her effort in constantly adding value and offering leadership to many of the projects, big and small, that we do here. The bigger projects, for example, like TCISKL, and then a lot of fundraising. She puts a lot of time into writing to present in large events, to promote Tzu Chi's sustainability footprint, for example. Yeah, and to do a lot of things, like, for example, currently tonight, right, she will share with you the latest project, which is a very important project for us in Malaysia to tackle the COVID problem. And Sister has to use all her skillful means to lead this project, basically. And it is very apt that tonight she will share episode 766, The Door of Exhortation and Admonishment, for our benefit. Yeah, over to you, Sister Carping.
I'm blushing already. As all of you can see, with that kind of opening and that kind of expectation that you have raised, yeah. I was actually busy literally this morning looking for doors, okay? Okay, yeah. Good evening, Brother Joe, brothers and sisters. I will share episode 766 this evening, The Doors of Exhortation and Admonishment. The stanza reads, the two doors, exhortation and admonishment, practice together to transmit blessings and wisdom. With wisdom and compassion, the Buddha used both doors, exhortation and admonishment. With their capacities, it is difficult to resonate with the great Dharma, so he had to adhere to capabilities. Waiting for capabilities to ripen, he opened both doors of exhortation and of admonishment. Next, please. In spiritual practice, we are cultivating to do all that are good by practicing kindness for all, and that is exhortation. And we also must stop doing that, whatever that is bad, and evil, and that is admonishment. These are the two doors to cultivate blessings and wisdom in parallel as a twinner in perfection. So this can only be achieved, like Master said, by applying the true principles in going amongst people, interacting to cultivate positive affinities. Otherwise, Master said, our wisdom is empty and biased. And in this episode, Master made specifically a reference to Sakyamuni Buddha and Maitreya Buddha, who are both replete with wisdom. But Sakyamuni Buddha attained Buddhahood countless before Maitreya. And Master said because Maitreya lacks a blessing without affinities. And she reminded us to always remember this as a reference. Next, please. So we must mobilize both compassion and wisdom to care, not only for self-awakening, but kindness for the greater good. We have to take responsibility for the world, share and transmit the Dharma. And we must be there to accompany those with the will to change and be their virtuous friend. And that is the way to have peace and order. And the key word here is will. Only those who see a need to change would have a will to change. And I want to relate this episode to my experience in the current fundraising exercise under Malaysia Solidarity COVID-19 Fund. I have reached out to many people this round, the rich, the famous, the big and the small. I've written, I don't know how many emails and letters to those known and unknown to me. And I'm very grateful to my friends who actually this round gave me their contacts, and some of them that I don't know. And it is so apparent that the outer reach, they are truly like the heavenly beings living on earth, immersed in pleasure and see no need to cultivate further blessing. A multi-billionaire that I've known from my days as a banker, for instance. I've written to him multiple times earlier on to raise funds for the school, TCISKL. Then he said, oh no, because my company's foundation, we give out scholarship, and so I'm not interested. And this round, when I wrote to him, the reply is that, oh no, Tzu Chi is a Buddhist society and I don't fund religious groups. So I don't know how many no's I've gotten from this person, ultra rich, but won't give a single cent. So I told myself I just have got to be really patient with him. I must not resent and I cannot abandon him, but I still have to bear with him and wait for the right condition. As many of you brothers and sisters have experienced in this recent round of fundraising, I'm sure when you approach your donors, you have been asked many, many times, why should I donate? Where is the government in this? Why isn't the government supplying all this equipment to the hospitals? We have paid our taxes, so why should we donate? Well, I told them that why do we want to debate on this when there are 60 to 80 people dying every day? It means that 3 to 4 people die from COVID every hour. So time is running out. We don't have time to debate as to whose responsibility it is. Well, some agree, some are not convinced, but they still give because I ask. But there are also those who don't give and still want to continue in a debate with me. And I told them I really don't have time to debate, but we can catch up on other things. So really great patience is needed, and these bare truths to what Master said. Next, please. Next slide, please, Sister Lily. Bare truth to what Master said that it is a monumental task to transform the self, let alone others. And that is why very few would dare and have the courage to form great aspiration to come back to the Saha world again and again. But Master asked, and I like this, where do you think you will go after this? Back to the Saha world, willingly or reluctantly? So there's really no place to hide. And without resolve and aspiration, we constantly are subjected to the three sufferings. Suffering, core, in facing the natural progression of birth, aging, illness, and death. And additional to that is the external conditions like poverty and climate change, etc. And secondly is the suffering of decay due to our greed of wanting more and fear of losing and not getting what we want. And thirdly is the suffering of action in impermanence of all appearances following infinitesimal changes. So the harder we try to run away, the more confused and deluded we get, like Master said, and the further away are we from the exit door. So life actually becomes even more complicated as we accumulate more karma, and it becomes even more difficult to find our way back. Next, please. So it's better that we chart our path sooner rather than later, have firm resolve. If it is right, just do it. And that is really how I feel in this current round of fundraising. I just have got to shut out the noises and focus my mind in doing the right thing. And the right thing here is that believe that saving lives is the right thing to do. And it is the responsibility of all of us, every one of us. Not only we must not kill, we must protect lives. So that is exhortation and admonishment. Next, please. And we must not be deterred by rejections. In times of difficulties, I really believe that creativity is a plenty. We must believe that when one window closes, a door, if not doors, open up. And for example, my ex-boss, Mr. Peng, he's actually the elder brother of Brother Eugene. He stepped in, giving me so much hope. After hearing my plea to him to donate to help save lives, within 2 days, he remitted US 250,000 to our charity account. And that's 1 million ringgit, 10% of what we try to raise. And today, an entrepreneur whom I've not been in touch for 25 to 30 years, my bad, connected with me to tell me that he has banked in 200,000 ringgit to the Solidarity Fund. I was speechless and embarrassed to the point that, I've not contacted him. And when he heard my presentation, he came forward and donated 200,000. And not only doors open. When you are creative, when you look for alternative, there are many goalposts that also open up for you. And in this round, we decided to do something different. And Brother Sio approached the Buddhist groups. So at the end of our meeting with them, I was asked, what else can we do? And I told them my wish that I really hope to bring in the interfaith groups so that all these different religious leaders can stand behind Solidarity Fund as one nation. And Sister Piling, she's the president of Buddhist Missionary Society Malaysia. She put up her hand and said she has the contacts, and she could actually arrange for a Zoom meeting with the interfaith group. And I felt at that point in time, it's as if she has presented me an open goalpost for a free cake. It is like a reward that I get after receiving all the no's, all the hard knocks, yeah. So the Interfaith Growth Meeting was arranged last Thursday evening, when the leaders of the various groups decided to join hands with us. After Brother Sio and I presented, I was like really, really so over the moon. And I wanted tonight to share with you a 6-minute video clips of, the presentation and their comment. The 90-minute Zoom meeting is live streamed, and we are working on a shorter version, a 12 to 14-minute a video that we can circulate later once the subtitle is completed. So Sister Lily, if you can play the video now, thank you. What we are trying to do is to get people to pool all our resources together. Tzu Chi has the resources and the experience to actually pull all the data together from various hospitals and assess their needs, so that we will know exactly what is needed and where. We can therefore be very effective and efficient in responding to their needs without having any duplication in supplies by multiple donors. In this way, we are also freeing the hospital staff from fundraising, from calling and dealing with multiple donors, as well as supplier of equipment. They shouldn't be doing this. They should be saving lives in the hospital. So we are very happy to take over that part of the job from them. So what we are proposing is this Tzu Chi COVID-19 Malaysia Solidarity Fund, which is an emergency fund in response to the SOS calls from hospitals to supply acute medical life-saving equipment. And what we really want is to form a formidable force to lead by examples, to inspire compassion, unity, and harmony. That is really demonstrating great love, that is the same values across all religion, all faith. So these are some examples of the key medical equipments that have been requested by all hospitals. So we are in this midst of fundraising, and what we would really like you to do is that if you can actually reach out to all your members, make them aware that there is this fund currently in running for a very short period of time because it's an emergency aid.
I think this is wonderful work that Tzu Chi is doing. I wasn't aware the scale, the enormous scale that you have been doing. You have all the people on the ground. So I think half our work is done. I think in a sense you have been there. Now it's the money, I think, that needs to flow into this whole thing. I think you've got all your people on the ground and everything is there. I think this is where I think I will also share this with MCCBC. We've got some people there, some people here that belong to that organization. But nevertheless, I will do my best to try to fill the coffers so that we will help our fellow Malaysians.
Actually, we have heard of the great job done by Tzu Chi. In even the ones I heard a few years back was during the typhoon in Philippines, and a few other places, if I'm not wrong, in Nepal and so on. So keep up the good work. Just as Archbishop Julian mentioned, that the focus now is on money, on funds, and it is an emergency fund. I think that is the key point here. And almost every one of you all know we used to work together many years. And I would like to highlight this moment. We have been talking, dialogue, whatever, interfaith. But this is the right time for us to be united together. We must take this good message, clear message to our own community, Buddhist message to the Buddhist community, Muslim community, Christian community, Hindu community, and try our best to convince our people to come forward to help ourselves as well as help others. So, and help our nation and citizen of Malaysia country. So after this, we must be action, not only dialogue and meeting, action like this. So we will be able to build up. We don't have to talk about politics. We don't have to talk about this and that, but we can work as one family of our Malaysia.
Yeah, because time is of the essence. From last weekend presentation from Brother Seo and Sister Kaping is so critical, so urgent. So we thought, we should really put our effort. Yeah, we should put our effort collectively and go all out to get the community together and really save Malaysia.
I think we should actually maybe forming an action group, and then from there, then that they become the channel for us to actually get in touch.
Let us really have a prayer and hope that may the amount that we're talking about be successful. May we be able to get the amount, the amount that we're targeting for, in order to help out situation at the hospitals and clinic that badly need them. And may the COVID-19 situation be quickly abate and disappear so that lives can actually return back to normal again. We do not want to lose loved ones through COVID-19. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Sister Lily. At the end of our presentation, Dr. Sri Victor, we actually asked, what are we looking for from the leaders? I'm not sure whether you all saw my expression, in the video just now. I was actually very shy to say that what I really wish was for them to reach out to their members so that a wider group of Malaysians know that we are doing this and they can come in and stand behind the fund. I was shy, but nevertheless, I asked and they responded positively. And at that point in time, regardless of how much money we could raise or we not raised, I felt that we have all won by just being agreeable to join hands to stand as one nation. So in other words, we all scored the same goal. And after the presentation, everyone got into action and they all felt the urgency to come in, to chip in whatever they could. And we formed a secretariat. I was kept busy with answering questions on taxes, writing templates, flyers, attending Zoom meeting, etc. Yes, like Sister Moon said, I was tired, but my spirit was actually buoyed by this amazing result that was totally unexpected. Yeah. And the most honorable, venerable Archbishop Julian, he's the president of the Catholic Archdiocese of Kuala Lumpur. He presented the case to the bishops. And when he called me to tell me that they have all agreed to donate 1 million, I was lost for words. And not only that, they also reach out to their community, asking them to donate directly to Tzu Chi. And that 1 million came in this afternoon. So it's just amazing. And then the Muslim Brothers, under the umbrella of AXIN, which is Allied Coordinating Council of Islamic NGOs, and the Great Peace Mission of Malaysia, they also held discussion with us after the meeting, and they are going the more creative way to do a short 2 to 3 weeks crowdfunding, and also to directly reach to the corporates. And they explain that way they can reach out to many more Malaysians whom Tzu Chi traditionally did not and could not access. Next, please. So, Sister Lily, next, please. Yeah, so like Master say, unison is beauty. And I consider it a real blessing to have the condition to experience such a beautiful state. While money is important, but I feel winning hearts means so much more, especially being able to spearhead and bring people of different faiths, different races together. And we are able to put aside our differences for the same cause, and in this case, to save lives. So while solidarity fundraising hasn't been an easy one, but I must rate this right at the top with the greatest success, not only in terms of bringing in the money in the shortest period of time, but it has given us the platform to actually share with many people, of Master's teachings and all the good work that is done by Tzu Chi Volunteers. And that to me is sharing of the Dharma, and hopefully we can awaken the love in many more Malaysians through this solidarity fundraising effort. So like Master said, let's not wait. We all have got to chart our path. Our goal in spiritual practice is really to join forces with everyone to have unity and harmony with reverent speech, mind, and body. So truly, the strength lies in the masses. And this time round, I got to know many more people, to work with them, to cultivate affinities, reconnected with people that I have not seen for many, many years. And I wouldn't have been able to do all that without this solidarity fundraising. So every one of us should seize the opportunity, and you really don't know what kind of success that you will get, as long as the purity of the mind is to do good, to stop doing all that is bad. So that is the two doors to cultivate blessings and wisdom through the doors of admonishment and exhortation. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me this evening.
Wow. I think we're all speechless. I think we're all speechless. Let me just take over while Sister Moon is trying to find her words. I think everybody was moved by your resolve, as you mentioned, and I think almost like you have 1,000 hands and knocking on 1,000 doors at the same time, and everybody looked and everybody opened, and that's what the technology can do for you. But I think technology can't make that resolve and make that confidence out of your presentation, out of your technology can generate that type of sincerity. And I think even though everybody wants to do something, they're looking for a platform, they're looking for a way, they're looking for someone who's willing. And so your patience to be with everybody and answer all the questions is truly, truly important. And so even after so many no's, you're still able to do this. So thanks. I think, as many people have already said, I think all of us are speechless, and especially what else is there for us to say other than to say thank you? And I think that's something that we all should look up to as a role model. As you mentioned, that you can't, you cannot have no for an answer, and just continue on. And that was truly exemplary. Thank you, Sister Carping. I think it was, let me just tell you the truth. I wouldn't be able to do that. I think after the first no, I would get a lot of hit in my own self-esteem or my feelings. And even though it's not me, even though I know I need to try, but it would be very difficult. But you try, you continue on. And I think that's shows the resolve and the confidence, the faith that you have in the objective that you have, the very important mission. Thank you. That was
Your
an
skin
amazing
gets
story.
thicker.
Thank you.
You know, after a while, your skin just gets thicker.
No,
Thank you, Brother
yeah,
Joe.
yeah. Thank you.
Sister Moon, you're muted.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I said that in multicultural Malaysia, we place a lot of emphasis on this interfaith, and understanding and being united, Brother Joe. And I was just going to ask you, what was your impression coming from a fairly, one culture situation? But obviously, you are fabulously inspired, as speechless as everybody else.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were muted. Otherwise, I thought you were just speechless. But how could you be? Sister Moon is hardly speechless.
Yeah. So I think that. So I think the takeaway tonight from Sister Kaping and Brother Joe is that really we should be fearless, and not to have doubt that, what will the other people say. Just go ahead, be fearless, just do it, and we'll be surprised, what kind of results we can get. That is my takeaway when I work with Sister Carving, because normally we'll say, especially for our neighbors, they will, you already preempt in your mind what they're going to say. So you say, maybe I shouldn't make a fool of myself, but this fearlessness is what we must have. Yeah. Thank you very much. Our next sharer, no less inspiring lady, Sister Sharon. Sister Sharon is approximately 6 years in Tzu Chi, serving the greater Sydney area, because that's where the HQ is. As we all know, and I think most of us know Sister Sharon pretty well, she has overcome great personal health challenges that would have otherwise put a normal person in despair. But because of a deeply rooted faith and understanding of Dharma, she has demonstrated courage to rise above self. She always rises above self, time again and again, to help those who are in greater need. For example, she still spends most of her time comforting cancer patients in hospitals, because she feels that there is a need for her to give back, right? And she organizes and delivers meals to homeless and vulnerable people. She translates for the Kaohsiung English team, and she mentors Tianxi and Peixin members. This is just some among her many projects in Tzu Chi. Yeah. So with this understanding of what kind of a person Sister Sharon is, let us look forward to her interpretation of episode 759, which is impermanence, suffering, and emptiness. Sister Sharon?
Thank you, Sister Moon. Okay, I'll share the screen. Okay. I'll just put this into, sorry. Okay. And I'm putting the big screen, so everyone can see now. Okay, good evening, Brother Joe, brothers and sisters. Tonight I'll be sharing episode 759, and the stanza reads, ordinary people do not understand the worldly phenomena are impermanent, much less know that the world is empty and illusory. Furthermore, they cannot understand that there is also wondrous existence in the world. Wondrous existence and true emptiness are buried in the mud of the lotus pond. So what is impermanent? Ordinary people do not understand that worldly phenomena are impermanent. We can't visualize the sufferings of impermanence brings until we actually experiencing it. Impermanence often comes without warning. It strikes regardless. We can't escape from it. The experience impermanence brings is always suffering. So are we going to wait until we encounter suffering, then only recognize impermanence? As we know, life is unpredictable. Do we have the courage and strength to face this impermanence? In this episode, Master mentioned that often anything that does not affect us directly, we don't really remember that much about the incident. I remember very clearly when Mount Ruapehu erupted in New Zealand in 1995-96, which affected 100,000 people in the North Island of New Zealand. I remember clearly because I was there. I was not directly, but indirectly got affected by it. I was pregnant with my first child. I remember hearing the sound of the volcanic eruptions. I woke up seeing one thick layer of black ashes on my car. We couldn't breathe properly as the air was so smoky. And that eruption produced at least 7 million tons of ash, with 2.3 million tons falling onto the Lake Taupo. And the ashfall travels so fast and so far when it carried by the wind. So it's like ashfall, not rainfall. That's what I experienced. I saw it, I felt it, and I have a deep memory of what happened that day. And all our drinking water was contaminated and affected a lot of people and animals as well, of course. And that incident I remember very clearly till today because I was there, affected, and somehow suffered from it. I was lucky that I was safe and sound. Our whole neighborhood came out to help each other. Our community get closer. We know that we need to help each other, cleaning up, wiping furniture, and so on. And the next one whole month, that's what we've been doing. We all get together and became closer. Master says our minds must not be so limited as to only focus on ourselves, only benefiting ourselves. If we do so, there will be no bodhisattva. If everyone only care about for oneself, so when impermanence strikes, there will be no one to help us. People who do not know that the world is empty and illusory still have attachments. We must unceasingly accumulate right causes and conditions, know that things are illusory and not be cling to them. Only when we go among people to help without allowing ourselves to be contaminated, we are able to see through the illusory. We can become a living down-to-earth life. So we should seize the moment to help others realize the wondrous existence in the world. Here I'd like to share, I once heard a brother shared, life is impermanent. Death is real and we can't escape death. However, there are three ways of looking at what truly death is. First way of being considered as dead is that when our heartbeat stopped, when our body not functioning anymore, when the doctor pronounces dead, then we are physically dead. Second way of looking at it is that when our family and friends say their final farewell to us at the funeral, a ceremony being held of burying a body into a grave, and that moment will be seen as dead by family and friends. And the third way of looking at it is when no one knows our existence in this world. So though we are alive, but no one knows who we are. Everyone has forgotten us. And at that time, though alive, is no difference to being dead. So the first one is time. So it's the surgeon. When our heartbeat stops, doctor pronounces dead, then we are dead. We can't change that. The second one is the Kongjian, is the space when everyone dresses in black, waving their final goodbye to us and seeing us for the very last time. And that is when you're dead. We can't change that either. However, the third one, which is the 人与人之间, the interaction between people, though we are physically here, but no one knows us, no one remembers us, everyone has forgotten us, then we are the same as being dead. The third one, we couldn't change the first one and the second one. However, we all have the power and can change the third one. We can make a difference to our own life. We all can go among people, help people, do good deeds, and even when we are physically dead one day, to those people that we have once helped and once make a difference to their lives, we will always be remembered by them as though that we are still alive. They remember us as if it was yesterday. You created a memory for them. Not only do they remember you, they might even pass on the stories about you helping them to the friends or to the children or their grandchildren. Your help, your smile, your kindness, your compassion, and wisdom will always be remembered. We all can change the third one. We need to understand that there's wondrous existence in this world. Just like Grandmaster Yin Shun, Sharon's master. Though he died in June 2005, his legacy remained. He left 6 words to Master for Buddhism, for sentient beings. Master passed on his teaching to us, and these 6 words to us. Today, we are in 124 countries with over 10 million members, and all of us walk the Bodhisattva path for Buddhism and for sentient beings. The memories of Master Yin Shun is very well alive. Wondrous existence in true emptiness is like lotus flowers in the mud with their seeds buried. The problem is we see only the mud and not the seeds. Lotus dignify the muddy pond like Bodhisattva dignify the Saha world. We must help these seeds to develop. The seeds that you planted can manifest into wondrous existence. Therefore, true emptiness does give birth to wondrous existence. It follows and turns with the wondrous existence. Wondrous existence represents what we do to activate this cycle. Just an example, I just want to share like what I encountered at the hospital. When family members of a family sick or pass away, for most people, the idea of sickness or death could bring anything good to a family seems like a magical thing. It's always true emptiness. But actually, it turns out that there's almost always a silver lining in these situations. Most people lives are incredibly busy. We float from one activity to the next, never really taking a break from hectic schedules. We snatch time here and there with our families, but never really have enough time to connect in the way that we like to. It's tragic, illness and death. However, illness and death can change that all. All of a sudden, we are thrown into a care situation where we have a responsibility for another family member, or a situation where everyone comes back together to care for a family member. Though it was very sad, like all is empty, somehow it brought a lot of families closer together, stronger than ever. And that's the stories I often heard at the hospitals, when the patients or patient's family, while waiting for, visiting a patient, they often come to me and say that, our family never been so strong. We felt that we are, closer together, everyone get together. Even arguments between siblings is all reconciled when they came to visit their parents. So it is really touching for me to hear that. I can see wondrous existence in that situation. Another example that Master always talk about was when before the hospitals and medicine mission existed, it was true emptiness. From this true emptiness, discussions, actions was put in place to build free clinics for patients. Building was put together, doctors, nurses, volunteers all work together to make this happen. And that is also from true emptiness to wondrous existence. And as years goes by, as doctor passed away and getting old, this became true emptiness again, as all this became a memory. However, if we go deep back and into the memory, replay it, and from these memories, it becomes wondrous existence again. So true emptiness follows and turns with the wondrous existence, because the hospitals are still here, though the doctors are not here anymore. The good work, the seeds that planted manifest into wondrous existence for us to make great vows and activate this cycle. Let's look at the pandemic. What about the pandemic? The pandemic hits us hard. The virus does not choose country, the religion, or our age. Anyone can be infected and affected. Suddenly, like we are facing a risk unlike any others we've seen before. Our comfortable lives that we have led up until now have not prepared us to deal with the potential of this premature death or of those of our loved ones. We are all psychologically ill prepared to deal with this, its meaning and its consequences. But still, there's wondrous existence from this pandemic. We heard that at least, we learned that at least human health and the health of the planet go together. We learned that prevention is important. We learned that global threats need global collaboration. We form better community spirits. All community come together, work together to support each other. From community sing-alongs to hosting food drives, as what we've been doing in Australia here. People come together to help each other, to boost each other's spirit. What about the internet? We have never learned so much from technology before. Even elderly knows how to use scan QR code. As now, as we enter any premises, we need to use the phone to scan the QR code and so on. Even myself, I learned to use Zoom much more, and you know, and we connect more and more with each other, be it via Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp, Messenger, and so on. And call on Zoom or Skype are more affordable. And because of that, families near and far starting to call each other more and give support to each other more. So there is a good outcome out of this pandemic. And healthcare reform has grown even stronger. This virus has brought to light potential flaws or areas for improvement within the healthcare system, especially as hospitals and medical facilities across the nation struggle to keep up with the demand for care the virus has created. Even at our own hospitals here, we make so many changes, and now I can see that we are so much more efficient and so much better in using all the resources that we have, and everyone are very cautious and very careful. And more outdoor activities with families. With less time spent in the car and the office, people are finding more time to get outside and enjoy being with their families or trying out new workout routines with the family. So this is also another good outcome out of it. Even in Australia here, even more pets get adopted. Actually, in Australia, we ran out of pets for sale. You wouldn't believe it. When the pandemic started, so suddenly within a month, all the pets in the pet shop all sold out, and the price of the pet, like from $1,000 jump up to $8,000, and then it's on waiting list as well. And the good outcome of it is that all the rescue pets that nobody wants suddenly got adopted. This is simply because of the lockdown. Parents and families spending more time at home. So getting family pets for the children or for themselves help with a balance in lifestyles. And there are many health benefits of owning a pet as well, as we know that pets reduce stress and good for mental. As for myself, I have 3 dogs. So I know that pets really, really good. So, and also like with what Sister Kaping said, unison is beauty. From this pandemic, everyone joined forces in Malaysia and everywhere in the world, as a matter of fact, to have this unity and harmony. You know, different religion, different race, different faith, all can come together and join forces to work together. Master gave us 4 principles to live by during this crisis. Pray with sincere piety, sow blessings by becoming a vegetarian, harbor love and respect one another, tame our minds, overcoming afflictions. All the above we know, true emptiness actually represents the phenomena of causes and conditions, and wondrous existence represents what we do to activate this cycle. So let's continue on to do good deeds, as time and life are precious and passes by without stopping. Our life is impermanent, so we should try our very best to accomplish our own aspirations and vows and make our life as valuable as we can. Here, I would like to end with a Jingxi aphorism that I find it so powerful and true, and which I always use it myself too. Master says, we cannot determine the length of life, but we can grasp the width of life. Kanan, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Sharon. What did I say? Only seeing positives in her life. It is something that we can take away. Can we have your impression, Brother Joe?
Okay, I think, of course, Sister Sharon is always very analytical and share a lot of the perspectives from which I think many of us probably didn't have the experience to go through in our lives. And so definitely all sees the very, very positive side, which is very important. I think that's what we need to have. Especially is with the part about focusing on the seeds in the mud, right? Many people see the mud only, but they don't see the seed. And I think that's the wondrous existence and the true emptiness. But at the same time, I think we could also look to the past, right? We see all the positive things that we're now seeing with the pandemic also. That's important. But we also could see what was happening in the past, how we get here. Okay, that's also part of the true emptiness because it's already in the past and it's hard to see. But another thing that we could see is in the future. Okay, so one of the things that struck me that I thought was very important was the pet. I think Sister Sharon mentioned about the pet situation where because of the lockdown, many people began to adopt or purchase pets. And I think that's part of what humanity or what we as people needed. Well, the one thing that I'm afraid of is that after the pandemic, then what's going to happen to these pets? They might be thrown away again. So this is also part of the true emptiness and wondrous existence. Yes, it's true that now we're showing all this love that we haven't shown before because of the pandemic, because of all these things that bound us even harder together. But what happens after this? Are we better because of this pandemic? Or are we going back to our old ways? That is something that I think we need to focus on as well. And that's why Master always says that we don't just cook the meals for them, but through this experience, we must try to change the perspectives. We must try to change them. Otherwise, when the need passes, then everyone would just go back to their own. And that could be the human nature, or that could be the habitual tendencies that we're trying to overthrow. Okay, so I think what Sister Sharon said, it even emphasizes the other true emptiness that we have to look at, which is, as many people got locked down. After they got locked down, what do? They do things in a much bigger scale, like, oh, I'm gonna do this now, right? I'm gonna spend more money. I'm gonna, purchase more. I'm gonna eat more. So what's gonna happen? Because during this time, and I think one sister shared with me before, without repentance, all these things are just gonna come to an end, and then a new cycle is gonna form, and then worse things are just gonna keep on happening. So thank you, Sister Sharon. You made me see the positives. And then I keep on going to the negatives. And I think that's what we needed. That's the true existence and the true emptiness and the wondrous existence. It's always to keep that in balance. Okay, thank you. That's my feedback. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. We are actually nearing to 9 o'clock. Are you okay with us, Brother Joe, for because we will have Brother Chin on as our next speaker.
Of course.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So I think Brother Chin also doesn't need much introduction. He has been in Tzu Chi for around 5 years. As most of us in our generation, he's a beneficiary of Christian missionary schools education. Well, but I think it must have been his past affinity that leads him to Dharma doors. Yeah, his spiritual cultivation started at 17, and he has continuously seek Buddha Dharma right until now and for as long as he lives. And it is this seeking for a more complete practice actually that led him to Tzu Chi, because it allows him to go amongst people, as Master says, in a way to expand his wisdom life in the process of giving and sharing Dharma with others. I think that Brother Chin is no better person to share episode 767, replete with Dharma wealth and virtues with us this evening. Brother Chin, over to you.
Thank you, Sister Moon. Thank you. I'm dangerously sandwiched between you and bedtime, actually. It's 8:59, so I practically only got a minute to we'll run through this. So can you see my slides? I presume you can. So this one is about 767, replete with Dharma, wealth, and virtues. But in the initial episode, I must say, we are replete with innate enlightenment, Dharma, wealth, and all virtues. Small vehicle practitioners' resolve is limited, so they fear the great Dharma. Two vehicle practitioners' wisdom is shallow, and the blessings thin, so the great Dharma is difficult for them to accept. Thus, he did not speak according to his intent or really teach the Bodhisattva way. Now, when I look at this episode, there's only one point that I really want to share with you all, and arising from this stanza. And what is here is that following from there, obviously, when in the paragraph that Master mentioned in the sutra, it's about obviously the poor son and the father sort of figure and dispatch people to bring him back. That led to a struggle, scalding the son so much that he fainted and was waking him up with the use of water, which is referring to the Dharma water. So this was an analogy for not giving direct teaching, and they may scare people off, and because they have limited capabilities. Now, rising from the stanza, from here, now this one is a part that I find very interesting that Master mentioned. It says that the introductory chapter spoke of the Sun, Moon, Lamp, Radiant Buddhas, Manjushri, and Maitreya mentioned in the introductory chapter that the Buddha had been in the presence of 20,000 Sun, Moon, Lamp, Radiant Buddhas. They were people who formed great aspiration and made great vows. So obviously the Buddha has encountered 20,000 Sun, Moon, Lamp Buddhas before, but they were people who formed great aspiration and made great vows. So then the question that when I looking at the stanza, this paragraph in the sutra, and this teaching in here, it appears to me that amongst the disciples and even the lay practitioners may have encountered the Buddhas in the past and may even have formed great aspirations before. So the question is, why then are they limited in their capabilities because of the lack of the aspiration? And that was the question that I'm trying to understand. And the Master went on to say, sentient beings have 84,000 kinds of ignorance. So the Buddha had to open 84,000 Dharma doors to accommodate them. So if that's the case, what it means is that once Buddha has shown the way, if there are 84,000 kinds of ignorance, there are many ways for us to lose our way. So if we then hold an aspiration in the past, we may still get lost. But then, Master then say, there are also 84,000 Dharma doors. So there are also many doors back to the way. Now, if that's the case, then how can then one hold the aspiration, the Bodhisattva aspiration in this life, so that in a future lifetime, we'll continue to be deep-rooted in the same aspiration? So with that, in the interest of time, let me then quickly conclude with this contemplation that summarizes the point I just made, is that the word teaches us everything, but yet little or nothing. If there is so much to learn in everything, we can only grasp a little of everything. So which in the end means nothing. So why then learn nothing instead of learning everything? In nothing, we keep nothing with you. No grudges, no anger, no hatred, no attachment, and no self. Therefore, the wisdom of everything lies in nothing. So if that's nothing, then we shouldn't have that self, the grasping of the self towards enlightenment, which obviously leads to the concern about leaking our aspirational vow. And so to do that, so if the wisdom is nothing, then we've got to realize the consciousness or the bodhicitta consciousness. Okay, we've got Galan brothers. Thank you.
Brother Joe,
Oh,
help.
right. Okay.
Jumping.
Help.
Sister Moon, Sister Moon, I thought you
Jaw
were
dropping.
gonna. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say something. Okay. No, I think we're still stuck in contemplation. We're still stuck in a little bit of everything, which is nothing. So just like what Brother Chin just said, right? You said a lot, but I think most of us grasp nothing. So it's almost like, but I want to go back to the idea of because there's so many answers. There are 84,000 doors. So by the way of walking through one, which is a little bit of all these answers, which ended up to being, which in the end means nothing because you only grasp that little one door. I think once before, I thought about also the similar idea where I think it was a story about, I think Ananda was asking, the Buddha asked Ananda, how much dirt or how much sand particle is in the riverbed. I think everybody knows that story. So I concluded very similar, but I concluded not as deep as this, not as profound as this, but I concluded that because the knowledge and wisdom is so profound that what the Buddha said must be the most important. Okay, so that's the one thing, right? Because it's so profound and it's so vast and you only have very limited time, you must say what is the most important. Otherwise, it would just be waste of time. Second, you must say the things that people understand. Otherwise, it would also be a waste of time. See, if Buddha is this enlightened being, all-knowing being, and understood that the entire, the river bend of the Ganges River represents the entire wisdom, and what he was able to say was only the particles of sands in your nails, then he must choose the most important and the ones that you get to see. If he spoke of things that is too hard, then people can understand. If he spoke of the things that's on the peripheral, then people won't get to the core in time because everybody had limited time. And then I think the most important is the third part. The third part, I think, is not only is the most important being said, not only is it something that we all get to understand that was said, but also the third part is the most important thing, is from the sands in our nails, that we were able to extrapolate to all the sands in the Ganges River. So that leads us the way that once you go through one door, it's akin to going through 84,000 doors. It all might look to be infinite, but it's actually not. And so that from one particle that you're able to extrapolate to many, 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 many more. And so while it's 1 out of 84,000, which 1 out of 84,000 could yield to mean very, very little. Even if you grasp it, it's still a little of everything. But I really think that it's the idea of a fraction of infinity. I think mathematically, if that such thing exists, is still infinity. So a little of everything, theoretically, is still everything. Okay, so let's just, while not prepared to hear what Brother Ching had mentioned, I try to grasp out of all these many, many things. That's the very little thing that I got. Okay, I see Sister Zhang raise her hand. Would you like to say something?
Which sister again, Brother Joe?
Zhang Huijin.
Yeah, Sister Chang, are you there? No?
But yeah, what Brother Chin brought up was very, very, very profound. Was very profound. So while you know, it's still very, it takes time for me to try to grasp everything, but I try to use as what I can understand. So yeah, so something to share with all of you, that sometimes it could be very profound, but sometimes it could be also very practical as well. All right, thank you.
Is that Sister Chang there? Do we see Sister Chang there just now? No? Okay. Okay. Thank you, Brother Joe. We were equally speechless after Brother Chin's sharing. Very profound. There will be enough for us to sleep on tonight. Yes. That's right. Yes, but we are all, of course, we are always very grateful for Brother Chin, because he gives a lot of his time actually to try to tutor us a little bit. You know, sometimes Master's teaching may be a little bit deep, you know, and he tries to help us to understand it better, you know, and he really gives a lot of his time to us, all the ladies in this platform, gentlemen and ladies in this platform. And of course, if there is nothing else, I don't think we should hold up Brother Joe. It has been a very pleasant evening. Thank you very much, Brother Joe, for your time. Thank you, brothers and sisters. If there is no further questions from anybody, we will call it an evening, and we'll see each other again next week. Yeah, Kanan, everybody, good night.
Kanan, thank you.
Everybody, 感恩. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, let us pay homage. Okay, 感恩 brother Joe for the great guidance, 感恩 Sister Moon for the great hosting, and of course the great team, the A team, Brother Chin, Sister Kapi, and Sister Sharon. Frankly, I must confess, it's a last minute team, yet they are so kind, and immediately they said, okay, after hearing Sister Sharon, I think Sister Kapi, I feel so bad. No wonder each time I could feel the Sister Kapi is like just finished the Zoom meetings, and she was so rushing. Imagine this thing is so new, but those in post-sharing Shinfa, when we first heard Sister Kapi mention about these great efforts, all of us were so inspired, even though it was like just a brief sharing, and just nicely. So I'm sure everyone of us that are able to join tonight, we definitely would feel that power. I think this is like I mean, to me, it's like awaken the sleepy hearts, that reignite the inspiration to seek more lotus hearts, seek more people to do kindness during this time. Look at Sister Kaping and how she's doing it. Of course, Sister Sharon is the ever positive, and Brother Chin, always selfless every morning. Yes, like Sister Moon, giving us homework, not homework. You ask us with his. He has done a lot of spend a lot of time on this and give us the contemplation, so we can think better of what Masters has shared that day. So it's very good, because it keeps us on the thinking reflection mode. 感恩, 感恩. Of course, Brother Joe, 感恩 for your time. Brother Joe is always very busy, but yet we are so grateful Brother can join us today. Tomorrow there will be a very good session by Brother Johan and our Master. Master will share on the ginger tea as well as the preventions of COVID.